Welcome to the Shenmue AM2 podcast.
So welcome back to another episode of the Shenmue AM2 podcast. We're your hosts, Andrew.
And Matt.
And welcome to episode 3. Just before we get started, we just want to give a huge shout out to Switch over at PhantomRiverstone.com for doing a little profile of us.
Yeah, that was great. I do a lot of podcasts, and I never really had that extensive of a write-up on any of my shows before, so that was neat to see.
I like how he had the picture of the wedge ears of Fuku-san.
Yeah, he even brought out visual examples of what we were talking about.
It was a little awesome read, so definitely check it out if you haven't already looked at it. It's PhantomRiverstone.com. He does blogs.
Yeah, and I never even knew of that website before, but I'll definitely be checking it out now.
Yeah, he goes by the name of Switch. He's, I think he's pretty active on the dojo forums as well. Does the translations, the English translations, I think. So let's hop into it. I know last episode we said we were going to kind of do Disc 2 and talk about the Kickstarter, but we think we have a lot to talk about with the Kickstarter, so we think it's worthy of its own episode. So today we'll be doing Disc 2. So we both beat it. So do you want to get started, Matt?
Okay, yeah. First of all, this disc was much shorter than I remembered.
Same here.
I finished it in 2 play sessions, basically. Without really even trying to speed through it. At least I don't think I was speeding through it. It's kind of hard to tell when you've played the game so many times and you know exactly where to go next. You're like, I could ask somebody, but I know that guy won't won't have the answer I need, so I'll just go here. But I have been missing more stuff this playthrough than previous playthroughs, so I think I may be just doing the straight beeline through the story, and I gotta try to stop that for the next disc and experience some more things.
I feel the exact same way. It's not that I necessarily feel rushed. I feel like I'm doing it efficiently, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I guess I'll get us started here with one thing I noticed was when Ryo gets to the harbor, that first opening scene, how the cameras, when they're kind of panning through the harbor, the camera's really low, close to the ground, so it's kind of looking up at everything to give it a greater sense of size.
Epic feel.
Yeah, it makes it look big.
Yeah. One of the first things I ever saw of Shenmue was it's the early ages of the internet, or I guess the late 90s, and it was a video. It was an advertisement, and it was back when there was no YouTube. If you wanted to watch a video, you had to, specifically download the single video to your computer. It would take 20, 30 minutes or whatever, and it would come in QuickTime format or whatever, and then you just have this video on your computer. You couldn't stream these videos. I had tons of Dragon Ball Z clips and stuff, and they're 5 seconds long, stuff I wouldn't see for ages, before it came to the North America. But yeah, the Shenmue advertisement, it used a lot of camera shots of the harbor that aren't in the final game. I can't remember exactly where the advertisement's from, but I watched it many, many times, and it hyped me up for the game pretty well. And another thing about the harbor is I went to animation school for college, and the best grade I ever got on the layout course, layouts are backgrounds in animation, was the one where I turned on Shenmue and I stood Ryo at the harbor, and I held L with one hand, so I went into first person mode, and then with my right hand I just drew the landscape of the harbor, and I got a perfect score or whatever on that background drawing. I just cheated by basically just copying the layout of the harbor. It's a really nice layout. It actually makes me want to work in a harbor sometimes. And even when you start doing the forklifting, which we haven't done yet, I was sometimes I'm man, I should just quit my job and go drive a forklift at the harbor.
It's funny that you mentioned that, Matt, because I was on Career Beacon, which is a job website I just kind of poke around on every once in a while, and there's actually a forklift driver position posted on it right now. It was reposted today.
Is it at the harbor though?
I think it's I think they actually fly you to Japan, and it's at the harbor in the game. I'm fairly certain. So the QTE when you first kind of get to the harbor with Goro, you know, the famous line of "Don't you know that blackmail's way uncool?"
Yeah,
I got beat up in that QTE pretty bad the first time. I failed it.
Me too. I didn't fail it, but I did take a few punches.
I failed it miserably.
And you always make, like, Rio always, like, he's so badass, and when you make him lose a QTE, you just feel like a chump. You're just like, oh, that would never happen to Rio. But, yeah, I love the victim there when he's the wimpy victim. He's like, ee! when he runs away.
Him and Tom, I think, are two of my... I don't know, I always kind of lump those guys together, but they both crack me up.
Yep. They're definitely comic relief characters. I don't know if Fukusan's supposed to be a comic relief character or not. I think he's just a foil for Rio.
He does. Fukusan cracks me up quite a bit.
One of the things, I think this is one of Rio's, like, signature moves. I think he does it in a few QTEs where he, like, just grabs a person's wrist and, like, kind of twists it, and they flip right over onto the ground, and then he lightly taps them with his foot. Like, it's like a flip and then a tiny kick. It always looks funny, but I like it.
So getting into the actual kind of gameplay side of it, when I was looking for Warehouse Number 8 and you find new Warehouse Number 8, when I showed up in the port security guard or harbor security guard kind of stops me at the door, Mark was actually in the warehouse.
Oh, was he?
Yeah, I thought that was kind of neat. He was driving a...
You can see him going around before you meet him?
Yeah, I don't know, I can't remember if he was driving a forklift or not, but he was definitely in there. Him in his gray striped shirt.
Is there more than one way to get into this warehouse? I can't remember. Is it just pushing the box at the back?
For the old warehouse?
For the new warehouse.
No, you go into the old.
Isn't Master Chen in the old warehouse?
Oh, yes, you're right. Yeah, it's pushing the box is the only way to get into it that I'm aware of. But, funny enough, when this time when I played through, I tried to push the box before looking at the window, and it wouldn't let me do it. I had to actually get the cutscene of looking at the window, and, I gotta get up there before it would let me move the box.
I like that part. It's a little tiny little puzzle. There aren't too many puzzles in Shenmue, but they're fun to discover.
A little bit of stealth.
Yeah.
Metal Gear Solid. Metal Gear Rio.
Yeah. But when I came out of the new Warehouse Number 8, and Rio jumped down from the top, he, like, jumped the whole way down. Somebody moved that box. The box was gone.
They're trying to get him. I noticed in the warehouse, or any warehouse for that matter, it's very echoey. They actually, because it's essentially a huge metal shed, for lack of a better term.
Yeah.
They made the, I don't want to say tinny, but echoey, tinny sound.
It's metallic.
To the voices. I thought that was pretty...
it sounds like it's echoing off metal.
Yeah, pretty good for its time, considering when the game was made.
Well, yeah, the sound design is excellent in this game. I think I've mentioned it before, how I love the different textures when he walks on them and stuff. I took a little time to just, like, stare at the ocean, and, like, the sea, like, really heaves in this game, like, in the harbor. Like, it's, like, way down and way up. And before that, I don't think there was much wave action in video games. Like, it was usually just flat water.
Yeah. When I first started talking to some people around the harbor, I just talked to someone that said, "There's a lot of smokers," and just had this look of disgust on their face.
Who did?
One of the people there. That was all their response was to me, was, "There's a lot of smokers."
That's funny, because smoking is generally accepted in Japan, especially in the 80s. Everybody smoked. I took the time to talk to the tomato convenience clerk in the harbor this time. Like, I usually never talk to her. I just buy stuff from her or whatever. She was complaining about the guards in the old warehouse district staring at her ass. And she was totally hitting on Rio.
I had, what is her name?
And she wanted Rio to take singing lessons with her.
I had another situation where he gets flirted with walking down Debuita Street in front of, it was around Lapis, the fortune teller's place, and Akimi-san stopped to flirt with him. And it like created its own little cutscene. I was just walking down the street, and she stopped, and I thought that was pretty funny.
What's she look like?
She's the one she wears pink and green.
Okay.
Got some 128-bit cleavage on her.
I don't recall her. I think another one who sometimes hits on him isn't it Miki? Like, she's got white pants, and she's got sunglasses on her head, and like a brownish shirt. I think Miki. But anyways, all the ladies love Ryo, and he doesn't care.
No, he's collecting action figures and looking for the man who killed his father.
Mm-hmm. So I failed the stealth section once. What about you?
I failed it once as well, and then I realized the minute it starts, if you run directly to warehouse number 8, you will not get caught.
I never remember where it is on my playthrough until I check it out that first night. So yeah, I couldn't remember. It's a little bit windy to get there. Well, the way I went.
Yeah, it's dark too.
It's very dark, and the camera and the tank controls don't help. Like, the tank controls during a stealth section are very frustrating.
I remember having a lot of trouble with it when I was first my first playthrough.
Yeah.
Kind of trying to move the camera and standing still, just waiting to get caught.
Just not having that extra thumbstick to swing the camera around behind him to see if anyone's coming. Like, you have to move his whole body around. Yeah. And by that time, they might have got close enough to see you. So yeah, it's very precarious section.
Something I don't remember ever encountering before is that there's a map of the harbor in the cafeteria on the wall that you can look at to see everything, and I don't remember ever seeing that before in previous playthroughs or when I was younger.
I think I remember seeing the map, but I'm not sure if it was there or somewhere else. Isn't there one like right at the entrance of the harbor near that guard post maybe?
I think there's one there too on the fence.
Yeah. So Guizhang and Ren from Shenmue 2 are the same actor, aren't they? The same voice actor?
I think so.
Pretty sure it is. Could be wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong, listeners. But he's a good voice actor. Him and Corey. And can I just say I hate Master Chen. I hate old Chinese wise men stereotype tropes.
Something I never noticed before either is the conversation you can have in the cafeteria with the two girls. They're both wearing, I think, like brown jackets.
Yeah.
And they're having a conversation with each other, and you can actually interject yourself into that conversation and have a three-way conversation. So the camera behind Ryo actually pans to who's talking, and I'd never noticed that before.
So yeah, the tank stealth part is I think it's the worst part of the game. I don't know about you.
No max bet button on the VLTs.
That's the worst part.
That's the worst. That's the worst thing in any video game. Worse than Duck Hunt Dog. Worse than Boomer in the first SOCOM game. He's worse than Natalia in the control room level in GoldenEye.
I used the phone to call. I tried calling Nayuki, and his sister Kayako answered the phone, and Ryo had a little conversation with Kayako.
I tried calling Master Chen after I met him, and they wouldn't pick up the phone.
What?
Just rang and rang and rang, and I got my 10 yen back out of the payphone.
I also had him... you ever get him to like call 911 or whatever? Or try to call 911?
Doesn't he say something like...
This is pointless. He usually says this is pointless. But I tried calling the fire department, and he hung up immediately, and he says, "No, I'll avenge my father's murder on my own." So I'm like, yes. That'd be funny if Ryo like calls the fire department to... Can you guys help me get revenge for my father?
Well, that's what they're for, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what the fire department's there for. Nozomi, she mentioned that she never talks, or she mentioned that Ryo never talks to her anymore, which made me think, like, what? He used to be talkative? He used to be personable? Because it's like the way he is in the game, it makes it hard to imagine, because we never see him like that.
No. There are a couple little bits where my first day in the harbor, I walked up to someone that was fishing and I started a conversation. He's like, "Getting any bites?" And I'm like, that's a different side of... And it actually, like, it sounded like he,
Sounded friendly?
Sounded friendly. And just kind of building on that, I noticed when you get to the harbor, you have a lot of conversations with just NPCs that are around, and they might give you a little bit of a hint as to, check out the old warehouse district, but your notebook very rarely gets any notes from those conversations.
Yeah.
Even though they're giving you hints as to where to go. I noticed lots of information, no notes in the notebook, though.
Yeah, that happens sometimes. I'll hear something from an NPC, and I'll be like, that seems kind of significant, but there's no ding. I just got to remember that, I guess. There was another part of the game where I guess I just had some free time or something because Ryo was just making small talk whenever I approached anyone. Yamagishi was talking about the old theater, which I think you can see boarded up on Dobuita Street. There used to be a theater there, apparently, and he says he used to go tease Oishi at the antique shop. After going to a movie, he'd go tease her. I love these little background things. Like, all the characters have them, and you just gotta discover them.
Did you encounter the homeless man when he was getting kicked out of the building?
No, that didn't happen. Was that disc 2?
Yep, I did it, and he asked me to buy him a hot coffee, and I didn't have the money.
Oh,
so I just walked over to the pop machine, pretended to buy it, and left.
So does that mean he won't teach you a move?
I have no idea. We'll find out.
Yeah, I didn't see that cutscene at all, so I hope I get that move. Doesn't he teach you like a dodge move, basically? A dodge and strike?
Yeah, because I think he asked you to spar with him, and you just keep throwing punches, and I think he just keeps dodging and dodging and dodging.
It's like a move where you zip through the person, and you're suddenly on the other side, and you hit them or something. Yeah, it's kind of an awkward move to do. I think it uses the Y button and the B button or something. I can't remember. But you could always just set it to R, set it to your quick move.
Yeah. Did you beat up the girls?
No. I've done that before, but not this time.
I had totally forgotten about that cutscene. And then when I started doing it, I'm like, oh yeah, I remember this. And she takes a swing at Ryo with the stick, and you grab it from her and toss her to the ground. I'm just like, this is so ridiculous that I'm literally beating up 2 schoolgirls.
I'm glad he doesn't discriminate. If somebody's going to come at you, they deserve your fists. How old is Guizhang, you think? He's an adult, I'd say.
Yeah, definitely older than Ryo. I'd put him...
Fukusan's age? Late 20s?
Late 20s, early 30s.
Yeah.
I kind of noticed, too, in this disc, going back, just like one of the days where I was walking back to the house, the parallels that Ryo's life has with the kitten.
The kitten? Yeah.
I mean, technically, Londi killed both of their parents.
Yeah.
They're both growing up kind of orphans. They both hang out with Megumi every once in a while.
Yeah. On the way, yeah, that's true. On the way out of Dobuita, Londi was like, he killed the kitten, or the kitten's mother, and he was like, "Where's the kitten mirror? I need that too." Speaking of the kitten, I ran across the kids feeding the cat cheese. I didn't think that would be a thing that you would just like feed a cat as like sustenance. That'd be like a treat maybe, but
yeah.
I usually don't see anyone around the cat except for Megumi, because she's always there in the morning and everyone else is there at different points during the day, and I never come back to the house until nighttime usually, so you never see anyone else but her there. But this time I did, and those other kids, whoever they are, were feeding it cheese.
They're a bad influence on her, I worry. I noticed, we talked about last episode how we always thought Tom was wherever Ryo was, so if Tom was in the harbor, or Ryo was in the harbor, Tom was in the harbor, and if he was in Dobuita, Tom was in Dobuita. Tom wasn't in Dobuita when I was there. Hot dog stand was nowhere to be seen.
Oh, well, there goes that theory.
Tom.
He's not a stalker after all. So the secret chamber in the basement. That's I remember that. That's a really cool discovery.
There's a secret chamber in the basement?
What? Oh, how'd you beat this too? That's yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about.
It felt big at the time, like the first time I saw it, or first time I did it, I was like, whoa, like this is neat. Like this is like a mystery.
I think it's pretty neat how there's candles, and they're different lengths, like they've been burned longer than other candles that are in the room, and you can just... I forgot that I had the light bulb, and I saw the light switch. So, I can... And they have the sound of screwing in a light bulb. Perfect. It sounds identical to real life.
Where is the light socket? Is it in the hallway, or is it in the room?
Right in the middle of the ceiling of the room.
Okay, so you need light to get into the room first before you can screw in the light bulb.
Nope. You can just look up and see it.
It's at the ladder?
No, it's in the middle of the room.
That's what I mean. You can't even go into the room unless you have a light source, like a flashlight or something.
I don't know. I always had the flashlight on before I walked down the hallway.
No, I didn't have it this time. I was like, I opened up the secret thing, and he starts walking, and it's like pitch black in there, and he's like, I need a light source. And I was like, oh, damn it, I forgot. So I got the flashlight out of the little thing under the telephone in the entrance.
I think it's pretty cool that the batteries could die in the flashlight, too.
Yeah.
If you're kind of dilly-dallying, taking your time in there.
And if you light the candles, they will go out eventually. Like, the candle will burn down to nothing.
Yeah, and some of them are already lower than other ones.
But I forgot about the light bulb. I've done that in the past, but I forgot about it this time. So all the stuff in here, I just want to know the backstory behind all of it.
There's a lot of stuff in the basement. And the photo, I think, is the big one. Who's that other... Is that the man that he killed in Moon Swoon?
I doubt it. They look pretty chummy. Who's the old guy that you go search for in Shenmue 2?
Yuan Deju?
Yuan Deju, yeah. I'm guessing it's that guy. But I could be wrong. I don't know. There's like a white leaf in a book. Do we ever find out what that's for?
I don't think so.
And there's like... My favorite part in the basement is when he picks up the little bottle and he's like, Elixir of Eternal Youth. Meh. And he puts it back. He just like puts it back.
I could have Eternal Youth, but... yeah, what that leaf could symbolize could have something to do with, if one of these mirrors was, he buried under a cherry tree, was it buried under a different tree somewhere else?
Maybe.
Who knows?
Maybe he did leaf catching training as well.
Yeah. Maybe he raised some ducks.
And the mirror was very well hidden in the basement.
You mean the mirror?
The mirror was very well hidden in the basement. Like, yeah, you had to like do all this like secret like it's like behind wall scrolls in the dojo. You need the handguard, which was like put in a safe place and outside of the property. You need the sword, which
you need the key to get the sword.
Yeah, and then once you're down there, you're not done. You need to figure out that it's like walled up, like sealed behind something that has a shelf in front of it that you have to smash open.
After you move the shelf.
Yeah. I think it was pretty well hidden. It's no surprise Lundy didn't find it. I guess he didn't know he had it in the first place, but even if he did know, I bet he wouldn't have found it.
Well, you don't think he would have told him if he knew he had both?
I don't know. But
he just drops Rio, goes and picks up Fukusan, no. Or else your student.
No, he'd be like,
take him. I don't give a crap.
He'd be like, okay, I have the other one too, but you're gonna want to take some notes on how to get to
one thing that happened in this, and I don't know if I've ever encountered it before, and it actually made me laugh, is when you're talking to the guy at the bakery, and he's like, Rio asks how's business or something, and he said, my bread isn't selling as much as it used to, and Rio gives the most serious answer. He's like, what?
And I think if you talk to his daughter later, she's like, I prefer the pizza or something like that, or the burgers or something.
Like, he just gave this response like, that's unacceptable.
Yeah.
Like, it was the most important thing that he'd ever heard in this game.
Let me help you sell your bread.
And so, just going back to the basement, when you open the cupboard on the bottom of that chest of drawers, he opens it with two hands, but how's he holding the flashlight?
In his mouth. I didn't know that you could open the notebook while you're on the phone dialing things. Did you?
No.
Yeah, so that makes it easier. Like, I always used to write down the number, like, on actual paper, and then dial it. But you can, if you forget halfway through, you can press the button to open up your notebook and double check.
Did you know you don't need to dial those first 5 numbers?
I didn't know that either. Yeah, both of these things I found out on a forum recently.
Yeah, I always dialed the first 5 numbers, and then I noticed that all of the numbers had the same first 5 numbers. Like, well, this is a local call.
Yeah.
So.
Makes sense. Realism. My first snow in the game was December 11th. Did you mark yours down, or did you?
I don't think it's snowed yet.
Oh, really? Yeah.
In mine.
Stupid random magic weather.
I noticed when you get an item, there's that same generic, like, sound when you get, like, buy a move scroll or something. When you actually find the mirror, it's the same sound, but they change it a bit.
Do they pitch it up or something?
Yeah, it's got, like,
It's more heavenly.
Yeah. That's a great way.
That's my that's one of my notifications on my phone. I think that's the one when I get a text message from my mom. It plays that sound, the get item sound.
Mom, stop sending me move scrolls.
Yeah. So yeah, Master Chen starts talking about the mirrors and like the legend behind them, and how the Chi-Yu would resurrect with the mirrors. And like on my first playthrough, well, before I played Shenmue 2, I was like, I put no stock in that at all. I'm like, yeah, it's just an old legend. But now I wanna know if this is gonna happen in the future. Are we gonna have to fight like some sort of demon?
Well, that's the thing. I kind of, when I'm playing through it, I take stock of it. In my mind, I'm like, okay, mythical creature. Because the game is so deliberate in its realism until you get to the ending, which, spoiler, there's a sword that floats in the air. And I'm like, okay, this is getting weird. Yeah. Maybe.
I remember, well, I guess we should wait till we get there to talk about it in depth, but I remember being disappointed at that. At this, like, supernatural, oh.
Yeah. That's kind of, yeah. I didn't want it to go that way.
Yeah. We'll talk more about it when we get there.
Absolutely.
My wife walked in while I was playing this, and Master Chen was on the screen, and she said, he looks like he's had a facelift. Like a Burt Reynolds facelift. Like
the John Travolta thing going on?
Like his skin was all like brought up around the back of his neck or something. Like just stretched across his face. I was like, yeah, you're kind of right.
Had another dream. I think it's kind of standard. You have the dream the day you get the mirror when you go to bed. Okay. Of it, the two mirrors.
Yeah. And it's like a bird in the mirror and stuff. I like when Chai grabs the mirror in the warehouse and Gui Zhang's like, push that button, and he points to a thing, like a panel with tons of buttons. And Ryo, he pushes the right one just somehow.
It was that button. Yeah. I cracked up when you tell Fukusan that you're going to Hong Kong. And when you encounter Ine-san in the kitchen.
And he just blurts everything out?
But they have the camera angle down by Ryo's hand, and you can see his fist clenching because he's angry.
You can see the veins in his fist.
You know, thinking about getting revenge for his father's death. And then Fukusan just blabs. And Dio's just like, idiot.
Yeah. It was nice to see him finally, like, emit some sort of emotion.
Yeah.
Frustration.
And then afterwards, you smash open Fukusan's piggy bank.
Yes.
Had a lot of money in that piggy bank.
Ridiculous that is a piggy bank, though. And it was like a 28-year-old man or whatever he is.
We have one beside our bed.
Do you smash it?
No.
When it's full?
I tell my wife it watches her sleep.
So the cat got lost. Did you find the cat?
I didn't encounter that.
Oh, really? Yeah, the cat got lost. Or, well, it ran away or whatever. So I had to go look for it. And I was pretty sure I remembered where it was, and I did. It was, like, down the steps. The steps that are at the immediate right when you come out of your home. That's, like, the only time that area is ever used, as far as I know, just to find the cat down there.
Yeah, there's, I don't think the only other time you even see that area, I think, is when Chai's on the roof after you have the encounter with Guizhang.
I think that encounter's in Sakuragaoka, isn't it?
Actually, yes, it's at the intersection there.
Yeah.
The T part before the store.
Yeah. So yeah, I think the cat going down there is the only use for that area. But.
When you're looking to find out a cheap fare to go to Hong Kong, when they tell you to go to Ida Florists, I found that was a deliberate way to get you to talk to Nozomi, to kind of push that relationship forward if you haven't already done it.
Yeah. It's possible to miss a lot of stuff with her.
It is. A lot of characters pop in and out. Just based on the technology at the time. She pops in and out the most. You could be, a few steps away from her sometimes, and she pops in. So I think it's easy to miss her quite a bit. And to be honest, this playthrough I've talked to her a handful of times.
Mm-hmm. Well, one of the things you could miss, which you did miss, is the finding the cat thing. Like, she's also looking for the cat. And you have a little conversation with her. She's like, you bring it back to Megumi, and Megumi thanks Nozomi, and she's like, oh no, it was Ryo who found it and stuff. Speaking of the piggy bank, Fukusan's an idiot, but he sure can count fast. He's like, it takes him like 5 seconds, and then when the camera pans around, there's these huge stacks of coins.
47,000 yen.
Yeah.
He should have been a banker.
Yeah. Another thing is, I didn't know this because I'm not this bad at the game, but if you take too long to find the mirror in the basement, there's like a cutscene with Fukusan down there helping you. Like, Fukusan can go down into the basement under the dojo and help you look for it if you suck.
You know it's bad. You're bad when you need Fukusan's help.
Yeah, basically. Like, that's something else I've discovered on a forum recently.
Did you know that... So when you go to buy the ticket, they give you the flyer at the crappy travel agency?
Yeah.
But did you know you can actually get a flyer from the other travel agency first, but you have to go to the other one first?
The good one?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did that this time. Yeah.
And I think it's such like intentional foreshadowing when you give her the money to buy the ticket and they just zoom in on her eyes. It's like, you got this uneasy feeling.
Yeah. You know for sure
something's happening.
Something's up. You're gonna get scammed. I just like how she keeps ignoring him. He's just like, excuse me.
Excuse me.
Excuse me. He's so polite.
He is. Well-mannered boy.
Mm-hmm. Another thing, like I mentioned last time, that I wish we could go in the restaurants and eat and stuff. Like, I'm buying all this chocolate and chips and caramel, and I can't fucking eat it. Like, why? Like, you just get it for the tickets. Why can't he just have a small cutscene where he eats the chocolate or the caramel or whatever, just like like when he drinks the pop?
Yeah, especially since you bought merchandise.
Exactly.
I like how everything in the store serves a purpose. Like
well,
the cassettes you can listen to. Yeah. Every single item there you can do something with.
Well, there's some things you can't buy. Like, I wish you could buy everything in that store. There's like a cooler with like
milk
or it looks like
sports drinks, like
aloe drink or something in the bottom. Like, why can't I buy that and drink it? Like, just a little bit more interactivity. I mean, Shenmue is great at the interactivity already, but if they pushed a little bit further, that'd be great. Maybe it's a budget constraint or something. But.
Well, this game, in all fairness, did have a pretty small budget.
Something had to get cut, I'm sure. So do you have anything before, like, the chase of the guy from Asia Travel?
Yeah, when you're looking for the Asia Travel Company, I had a hilarious cutscene where Ryo's friend, the one in the yellow jacket,
yeah,
he was sitting outside the Happy Pear Burger Bar, and Ryo asks him if he knows where Asia Travel Company is. And
right over there, dummy.
And it's literally diagonally across, but he's like, I'm not familiar, or something along those lines. And Ryo's response was, it's by the burger place, which we were standing at. And he's eating the burger. And I'm like,
burger place?
I thought it was so funny, because clearly that cutscene, or that conversation, can happen somewhere else.
Yeah, it's probably meant to happen somewhere else.
But something odd that I had never noticed before. So every time you initiate a conversation, you have to press the A button.
Yeah.
If you have a conversation with that guy there and you walk away, Ryo says goodbye while he's walking away, totally unprompted by me. I had never encountered that before.
Because they're friends, I guess?
Maybe.
I think I've encountered that, but maybe not. Maybe I'm thinking of another game.
And Happy Bear Burger's one of the best restaurant names I've ever heard.
Yeah. So the chase of the guy from Asia Travel, that chase QTE is the exact same one from What Shenmue, right?
Yeah, the What Shenmue one is.
They just replace.
It's the same. It's just the president of SAG at the time.
Yeah. That's what I thought.
I love at the end of What Shenmue when he's like, yes! When he does the fist pump.
I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna sell all these Dreamcasts. He failed.
He sold a couple.
I noticed that Ryo sleeps on a bed. Most, I don't know about most Japanese people, but a lot of Japanese people don't sleep on a bed. They sleep on a futon mat. And, like, even everyone else in his household does. Like, nobody else has a bed but Ryo.
Why does Ryo have a real bedroom door?
Yeah, true, yeah.
Everyone else has those sliding panels.
Yeah, he's just like, maybe he's enamored with Western culture, and he wants to be an American.
The last dream on disc 2, the dream when you dream of Shenhua.
Where she, like, falls off the cliff or something.
Yeah, and it's snowy. I think they do a fantastic job with all of the dreams. The Lon D one's still my favorite.
Yeah.
It is by far, I think, the best.
Something about the lighting in them that just makes the graphics look even better.
Yeah, they're fantastic. And what game ever had dreams before?
Yeah.
Other than Mario 2, spoiler, the whole thing was a dream. The fake Mario 2.
Yeah.
The dumbed down one that we got here in North America.
Not Doki Doki Panic.
Nope.
So, that stupid kid who wants Ryo to buy him the capsule toys, I always take great pleasure in denying him and then buying one right in front of his face.
I haven't talked. Is that the one in?
He's in front of
Guaca.
He's in front of Abe store.
Yeah, I never talked to the kid.
But speaking of the Abe store, I went in there, and well, first of all, the floor is filthy. I don't know if you ever taken a look at that, but I was trying to check out like all the merchandise that I couldn't buy, like what's in this cooler and stuff, and accidentally zoomed in on the floor. It is disgusting. I don't know what's covered like all over it, but everybody take a look at the floor near the entrance of the Abe store. But I bought some chocolate or something in there, and I drew a ticket, and I did the best I've ever done. I got second place. And have you ever done like the prizes in the Tomato and the prizes in the Abe stores are different prizes. Like in Abe store, second place prize was a capsule toy of the president of Sega.
Yeah.
Yeah, have you ever got that?
I've gotten one of them because there's, I think, 2 of him.
Oh, okay. This one had like a festival coat or shirt or something on. It was like an orange shirt.
Yeah, they those actually, I don't know if they do it in the North American version, but in the Japanese version, if you have both of his action figures and then go to the sushi restaurant on a certain day, there's I think a couple other things, that's when you can encounter him and you walk in and he looks at you, panics and runs away.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if it's in the North American version or not, but I just found out that though you had to have both of those action figures already to
that's very specific.
To unlock that scene, and it's kind of similar to the duck race where there's a series of events you need to have all those items.
It's very hard to find without a walkthrough. But the capsule toy of him is like super highly detailed, like compared to the other ones. Like I think it's the actual model that they used in Shenmue. Like it's creepy. It looks like a little handheld person. I failed the fight with Chai. I've only beaten him once.
I've beaten him twice. I've beaten him actually fighting him, and then I've beaten him with the cheap where you just keep doing the sweep move over and over and over and try to pin him in a corner.
See, that's what I don't like doing. Is like I suck at the fighting, but I don't want to spam an effective move. Like I want the fighting to look natural. I want it to look cool. I want to mix up my moves and so I don't do what's most effective. I don't just keep spamming the same moves if they work, and that just usually ends in my ruin. But
I find that fight is the hardest between the 2 games.
Oh, it is, yeah.
Of any fight, and then second is the other fights, when you unlock the duck race, they're both pretty tough. But those ones are much easier to kind of, if you're simply just trying to unlock it, you can spam those fights pretty bad. But the one with Chai in the arcade, it's such a close
quarters.
Close quarters. You really can't. Sometimes you just have to beat the holy hell out of them.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to Hong Kong. My cousin Brian watched me do that scene, and he just, when he crumpled up the ticket and ate it, my cousin Brian thought it was the funniest thing, and he'd crumple stuff up and just tell me I'm not doing something.
And just shove anything in his mouth. What do you think of Chai as a character? Do you think he fits thematically with everything else in the series?
Not really.
He's like a Gollum creature.
He is. He's very Gollum-like.
I didn't really like him for the first little while. I'm okay with him now. I'm used to him after 15 years. But I really didn't like him at first.
No, he definitely is outside the theme of the rest of the game. I think the music, whenever he comes on screen,
I do like his music.
it just cracks me up. Because he's such an over-the-top character. Mm-hmm. But I don't mind him being there, but he is kind of off with the rest of the theme.
Yeah. He looks like he was like once a little boy who like grew and mutated into this mutant freak because his clothes look like he ripped through them like they were once too small. Like they were once like he was smaller and he grew and then, like his clothes didn't or something.
Like the Hulk.
Yeah, like the Hulk or something. He's a very skinny, like anorexic Hulk.
Yeah. He definitely has the his moveset's modeled after Leon from Virtua Fighter 2.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of neat how they, especially in Shenmue 2, how they model the movesets off other characters from the Virtua Fighter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And we'll talk about that more. We'll maybe do an episode in the future where we compare Virtua Fighter.
Well, I guess that's all my notes.
That's all my notes for this episode, or for Disc 2. Mm-hmm. Disc 3, I think there's a bit more to it.
Yeah.
Disc 2, I don't remember being this short.
Me neither, yeah.
But I think, not that I'm rushing through the game, but I think I'm playing it in a pretty efficient manner. Again, because I know where things are, know what to do.
I'm gonna try to be more. I'm gonna try to wander more next time.
I think I might too, because even in our notes from this, I didn't do the cat thing. Mm-hmm. You didn't do the homeless guy one.
Yeah.
You didn't beat up the girls.
Yeah.
There's so much to do. Mm-hmm. Sometime I wouldn't mind trying to do one of those complete notebook playthroughs where you literally go point A to point B to point C to point D to point E and so on. I think it'd be fun to try because I miss so much every time. But that's part of the
fun of replaying it.
Yep.
To see that stuff.
This game has, for being in an open world, but a relatively small open world, the replay value for this game is through the roof.
Mm-hmm. Yep, really is.
Getting movesets, different moves, practicing different times. There's a lot to it.
Mm-hmm. So is that all for this episode? And then next episode we'll talk about Kickstarter stuff.
I think we're good. So again, thanks for everyone for watching,
listening.
Yes, listening. Well, they could be watching the little thing go across the screen.
Yeah. Remember to blink.
Going forward, this episode will be posted on iTunes. We're going to keep posting on SoundCloud as long as they let us.
We've got a 6-hour time limit there, I think. So once that's up,
I think we have a 3-hour time limit.
Oh, we're 3 hour. Oh,
yeah. So
it's worse than I thought.
We will keep posting there, but we'll be on Netflix. We'll be on iTunes.
We're moving up in the world.
We'll be on.
We're getting
iTunes.
A series, Netflix original.
2 guys on a couch talking about Shenmue, a 14-year-old game.
Yeah.
So we're going to be on iTunes going forward. Which is exciting. Thanks for everyone in the Shenmue Dojo forums. Shout out to Switch again, at Phantom Riverstone. People that have left comments, people that have liked us on SoundCloud, people that have followed us. We really appreciate it. We're starting to get some traction here, get some followers, get some hits. We'd just like to thank our sponsor this week, Bob's Pizza.
Da pizza.
The best slice in Debuita. Thanks, guys, for listening.
Merci.
Have a good one.
Bye.